When someone tells a Black American to go back to Africa, it's a phrase loaded with a fundamental, almost comical, misunderstanding of basic geography, First things first, Africa is not a single country. It's an enormous, incredibly diverse continent, home to 54 distinct nations, each with its own unique history, each with its own unique culture, each with its own unique identity. Imagine telling a European person to go back to Europe. Where exactly would they go? Paris? Moscow? A small village in the Swiss Alps? The command is so vague it becomes meaningless, revealing more about the speaker's ignorance than about the person it's aimed at. It's like telling someone who dislikes a specific pizza topping to go back to food. The logic just doesn't hold up. This lazy generalization lumps over 1 billion people into one single, undefined category. The continent boasts thousands of languages and dialects: Swahili, Hausa, Yoruba, Amharic. Its cultures are just as varied, rich traditions in art, music, governance, philosophy that have developed over millennia. To pretend it is one homogeneous place is not just factually incorrect. It is a profound dismissal of the complexity and richness of human civilization. The phrase "go back to Africa" demonstrates a worldview that sees an entire continent and its peoples not as a tapestry of unique societies, but as a single, interchangeable mass. It's a starting point built on a faulty foundation, honestly. Furthermore, the insult completely misses the fact that Black identity is global and not confined to the African continent. Black people are from the Caribbean, Jamaica, Haiti, Barbados. They are from South America, Brazil, Colombia. And, of course, they are from the United States, with family lines stretching back for centuries on American soil. The assumption that Black automatically and exclusively means from Africa is a simplistic and outdated equation. It erases the histories of the entire African diaspora, people who have built lives, communities, and cultures all over the world, often after being forcibly removed from their ancestral lands. Ultimately, this phrase is less of a geographical suggestion and more of a rhetorical weapon designed to invalidate a person's right to speak. It's a way of saying, your opinion doesn't count here because you are not truly one of us. It attempts to frame Black Americans as perpetual outsiders in their own country, using a distorted and oversimplified idea of a distant continent as a tool of exclusion. The command isn't really about a destination, it's about silencing a voice by questioning its very right to be present. It's a clumsy attempt to end a conversation by revoking someone's membership in the nation. The demand to go back ignores a brutal and painful historical reality. For the vast majority of Black Americans, the path back is a broken one. Their ancestors did not arrive as immigrants with passports, travel documents, or a clear record of their village or ethnic group. They were kidnapped, captured, and brought in chains on transatlantic slave ships. This process exploited labor and systematically stripped identities. They were severed from specific nations: Kingdom of Congo, Oyo Empire, Ashanti Confederacy. Names were taken, languages forbidden, family structures shattered. This erasure was a core technology of slavery. By mixing people from different regions and forcing different languages together, slave owners prevented cohesive communities and made organized resistance harder. A person's link to a people, place, and culture was destroyed. Today, most Black Americans cannot trace lineage to a specific African country with certainty. DNA can give regional estimates West African Nigerian, but not a town, a family, or a specific heritage. Those were lost centuries ago. The receipt, as one commentator put it, is missing. This historical amnesia is deliberate. It's a lasting legacy of slavery. Other ethnic groups don't typically share this burden. Irish Americans can often name a county, German Americans a state, Italian Americans a village. For Black Americans, that link was violently severed. Telling them to go back is a cruel taunt. It demands return to a place history made impossible to identify. It highlights the wound, the loss of origin, and then uses that wound to exclude them from the only home they've known. That's not just insult, it's historical ignorance. It ignores that Black Americans are not non-deportable by loophole, but foundational to the nation's history, built in part on bondage. They were not migrants by choice. They are descendants of those brought against their will and whose forced labor built this country's economic foundations. To tell them to leave is to ignore why they are here. For more than 400 years, Black Americans have been an integral, yet often unacknowledged, part of the American story. Their families have lived on this land for generations, longer than the families of many who would question their right to be here. They have built communities, founded churches that became centers of social and political life, established businesses against incredible odds. They have contributed to every facet of American culture: music, literature, science, sports. The very fabric of the nation is woven with the threads of their labor, resilience, creativity. To suggest they do not belong is to ignore centuries of tangible, undeniable history. This deep-rooted presence is also marked by profound sacrifice. Black Americans have fought and died in every single war this nation has waged: Revolutionary War, World War I, Iraq, and Afghanistan. They shed blood for a country that, for most of its history, refused to recognize them as full citizens. They defended ideals of freedom and democracy abroad while being denied those same rights at home. This paradox lies at the heart of the Black American experience: a consistent patriotism in the face of persistent injustice. Their claim to America is therefore sealed not just in labor, but in blood. The feeling of belonging, then, is not an abstract concept. It is a lived reality. For many Black Americans, the United States is the only home they have ever known. It is where their parents and grandparents are buried. It is where their children were born. The landscapes of Mississippi, the streets of Chicago, the neighborhoods of Los Angeles are their ancestral lands in a much more immediate and tangible way than a continent they have never seen. When someone says, "go back," it is a direct assault on this sense of place, an attempt to render them homeless in their own home. It is not just about geography, it is about denying their identity. Because of this, the act of criticizing America is often an expression of belonging, not a rejection of it. You criticize the things you care about and want to improve. When Black Americans speak out against racism, police brutality, systemic inequality, they are not saying they want to leave. They are demanding that the nation live up to its own stated ideals of liberty and justice for all. It is an act of civic engagement, a call for reform from within. It is the ultimate expression of citizenship, holding your country accountable and pushing it to be better. It's an investment in a future where they are fully and unequivocally seen as American. The call to go back conveniently ignores the fact that the fight for equality is far from over. The past is not just the past, its legacy continues to shape the present in very real and measurable ways. One of the most glaring examples is the racial wealth gap. Due to centuries of stolen labor during slavery followed by discriminatory practices like redlining, Black families were systematically prevented from building generational wealth. Today, the median white household has nearly 10 times the wealth of the median Black household. This isn't because of individual choices, it's the cumulative effect of a system that has historically provided different opportunities based on race. This inequality extends directly into housing and education. Decades of redlining, a government-backed practice of refusing to insure mortgages in and near Black neighborhoods, created segregated communities that persist to this day. Because public schools are primarily funded by local property taxes, schools in predominantly Black neighborhoods often have fewer resources. This leads to disparities in the quality of education, affecting classroom size, teacher pay, access to advanced courses. These are not just unfortunate circumstances, they are the direct, predictable outcomes of policies designed to create and maintain racial hierarchy. The justice system is another area where these disparities are starkly visible. Numerous studies have shown that Black Americans are disproportionately targeted by law enforcement, arrested at higher rates, receive harsher sentences for the same crimes as their white counterparts. They are significantly more likely to be wrongfully convicted of serious offenses. This isn't about blaming individual police officers, it's about recognizing a pattern of systemic bias that has been documented for decades. For many, the scales of justice feel permanently tilted, a reality that fuels both fear and a demand for profound reform. Finally, access to the ballot box, the most fundamental right in a democracy, remains a battleground. After the progress of the Civil Rights Act, new barriers to voting have emerged, such as strict voter ID laws, the closure of polling places in minority neighborhoods, purges of voter rolls. These measures disproportionately impact Black and brown voters, making it harder for their voices to be heard in the political process. These present-day inequalities are not just abstract statistics. They are the lived experiences that fuel the ongoing conversation about race and justice in America. They are the reason people continue to speak out. In today's America, we seem to be living in two different realities when it comes to race. On one side, many people see racism as a persistent and powerful force that continues to shape society. They point to the wealth gap, disparities in the justice system, and the daily microaggressions that are a constant feature of life for many people of color. For this group, the past is not dead, it's not even past. They see the struggles of today as a direct continuation of historical injustices, and they believe that ignoring race means ignoring the problem. The pain is visible, the history is relevant, and the need for change is urgent. On the other side, many other Americans believe that racism is largely a problem of the past. They point to the end of segregation, the passage of civil rights laws, and the election of a Black president as proof the country has moved on. From their perspective, the playing field is now level, and success is determined by individual merit, not by race. They may feel that constantly talking about racism is divisive and counterproductive, holding the country back instead of moving it forward. These differing perceptions are not necessarily born of malice. They often come from vastly different life experiences and the stories we tell ourselves about our country. Social media acts as an accelerant in this polarized environment. Every incident, every video, and every argument is amplified and broadcast to millions in an instant. This can be a powerful tool for raising awareness about injustice, bringing incidents like the murder of George Floyd to the world's attention. However, it can also create echo chambers where we are only exposed to viewpoints that confirm our existing beliefs. Algorithms feed us more of what we already think, making it harder to understand or empathize with people who see the world differently. The space for nuanced, good faith conversation seems to shrink every day. This deep division makes any conversation about race feel like walking through a minefield. The phrase "go back to Africa" often emerges from this friction. It is a blunt instrument used to shut down a perspective that one finds uncomfortable or threatening. It's a way of saying, "Your reality is not my reality, and I don't want to hear about it." But dismissing someone's lived experience doesn't make it go away. It only deepens the divide and reinforces the feeling that we are not one nation, but two, living side by side but speaking completely different languages. To move forward, we must first acknowledge the complexity of the issue. It is crucial to be honest and careful with our words. This means recognizing that not every white person is a racist, and that people can hold different views without being motivated by hate. At the same time, we must also recognize that Black America is not a monolith. Black people hold a wide spectrum of political, social, and economic beliefs. Black conservatives, Black liberals, religious secular, everything in between. Reducing such a diverse population to a single viewpoint is just as simplistic as reducing Africa to a single country. True understanding requires embracing this nuance. The core of the problem is not about geography, but about belonging. The demand to go back is fundamentally a challenge to a Black person's American identity. The most powerful response to this challenge is the simple, unshakable truth: we are already home. This is our country too. Our ancestors' sweat and tears are in its soil. Our contributions are in its culture. Our future is tied to its destiny. For many Black Americans, belonging is not something to be negotiated or granted by others. It is an established fact of history and a reality of modern life. The goal is not to leave, but to be fully seen and respected within the nation they helped build. So, what is the solution? It begins with a commitment from all sides to listen more and shout less. For those who don't understand why the conversation about race is so painful and persistent, the first step is to learn the history. Read about slavery, read about Jim Crow, read about redlining. Seek out the stories and experiences of people who live a different reality from your own. Ask questions with a genuine desire to understand, not to win an argument. And most importantly, when someone shares their pain, listen with empathy instead of defensiveness. Ultimately, telling someone to go back to Africa is a dead end. It is a conversation stopper, a roadblock on the path to mutual understanding. It solves nothing and wounds deeply. If we truly want to build a more perfect union, we must have the courage to face our difficult history and its impact on our present. We must engage in the hard, uncomfortable conversations with a spirit of humility and a shared desire for justice. The work is not to send people away, but to find a way to live together, to acknowledge our shared history, and to build a future where every single American, regardless of their background, feels they truly belong. Africa is not a country. Stop saying go back to Africa.